Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Abishai Bahashem Rakak Badash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered among the heathen nations around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson in truth. And in light of everything that's going on, with these celebrities chiming in on the Israelite thing, that being a hot topic in the media and right now, and there's really no more excuse for you Israelites out there. Your excuses have all been taken away. Everyone has heard about the Israelites at this point. All right, the controversy of Zion is definitely on the table as we slide deeper into Jacob's trouble, which this next video is about. Vanessa Gullin, the number 2 girl there on the list from the top, and Jacob's trouble, her trouble sent her to the spirit world, which is really sad and a waste because she was such an attractive girl. I've seen other pictures. This picture right here really does it no justice. This was a very attractive woman, and now she's just worm food. But the video that I'm going to going to profile and then chime in with scripture, and give a breakdown of it, is the one above her with Marine veteran Joanna Sweat on why I am Vanessa Gullin. And so there's a couple violations and things here of the scriptures, and I'm going to start with this scripture right here. All right, because first of all, we live in a society that glorifies the woman, elevates the woman. Almost every other movie has women over the men, more intelligent than the men, leading the men, fighting and beating men, in combat, and things that are not true and never were true in the past. When you look at all the battles that were won by both the Israelites and the heathens, all right, there was never any battle ever in the history of mankind that was won by a woman. All right. There was a few women who were standouts, a couple things. The woman that drove the spike through the sleeping man's temple. I forget exactly. I'd have to go back and read it and find it. But nevertheless, he was sleeping. He wasn't standing up facing her. All right. Women are not, you can't, and there's nothing wrong with a woman learning self-defense. You learn a few little moves here and there just so you can get away from, a predator, get away from danger and run away or something like that. But if you think that you're going to get to a level to where you can, that Ronda Rousey spirit, with the mindset that you can actually fight and beat a man. I remember the chatter back and forth how, and people really thought and believed that she could beat Mayweather, and clearly that wasn't the case, and she got 1-2 switch kicked in the face by Holly Holm, and then later on she got put to sleep even worse by the lioness. All right, so women have their role in the Lord's kingdom, and men have their role in the Lord's kingdom. So let's get a scripture just to start this off, and then we're gonna play this video. This is Jeremiah 31:22, and it reads, "How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man." And so basically that's a shame, because he said, "Oh, backsliding woman." What are you backsliding from? You're backsliding from the ways of the Lord, because it was never intended for that to be so. All right. It was never intended, and so especially for the Israelites. All right. Our women being over us is a shame unto us. All right. It's worse, it's bad enough that we have the basis of men ruling the whole world right now, meaning the lowest men, the lowest people created are ruling the earth, and then you to add insult to injury, you throw women in the mix. All right, and through my experiences in the military, because these women are in the military, and like I said, there was never any battle won with women in the military. It just didn't happen. All right. And my experiences with women in the military was nothing but adultery. All right. military wives commit a tremendous amount of adultery. All right, and I lived it. I saw it, and I was a part of it. Unfortunately, I was in the world and I was young. All right, but I'm gonna tell you right now, when the ships, I was stationed at my last duty station was Camp Pendleton, and I'll tell you this: every time a naval ship or a marine ship went out for the 6 months deployment, everybody had a new girlfriend for 6 months. That's the way it worked. And that's just the honest truth. Including the ones who say that they didn't or they wouldn't. They did. Because their girlfriends were doing it. They all were doing it. That's just what was happening. All right? So I want you to think about that. Okay? So let's go to this woman here. This Marine, Miss Joanna Sweat, and let's let her speak. So let me get the sound right.
My name is Joanna Sweat, and I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran who served nearly 10 years. In my experience,
I'm gonna take it back, Salaki. I was adjusting the sound.
And being a MST survivor.
So let her start again.
And my name is Joanna Sweat, and I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran who served nearly 10 years. In my experiences as a woman in the Marine Corps and being a MST survivor several times over a 10-year career.
Several times over a 10-year career. So basically, she's saying that she had some sort of sexual, unwanted or undesired or forced sexual, encounter several times in 10 years, and you stayed? Your husband stayed? Yeah, let me grab a quick scripture. All right. And this is not, she didn't know any better. Why? Because the world has been turned upside down. What's right is wrong, and what's right and what's wrong is right. Okay? But this is 1 Corinthians the 14th chapter, and I'm going to start at verse 33, and it reads, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. And as in all the churches of the saints." So a church means to be called out, which is a gathering of the men. The Marines was once a gathering of men that defended and fought for their country, who up the bam, yada yada bing, whatever you want to say. All right? "Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as saith the law." All right. "And if they were to learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church," to speak in the gathering of the men. That's basically what, with church boys, it means to be called out. That gathering of men, that's the church. That's why, verse 32 says the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets. All right. So, the law of the Lord is being tremendously violated in this place, right? And America sets its people and its women and its families up for failure. That's what they do. But let's let her basically shame herself a little bit more as she just continues to talk. It gets worse.
It saddens me that I ended my career in 2007, and now in 2020 we're still having the same problems, the same issues keep.
Now, what's happening before her tour of duty and happening after, but you know what happens even more? The voluntary sex while you're married of women in the Marine Corps, in the Army, in the Navy. Okay? Like I said, I saw it, I lived it, I experienced it.
Bubbling up over, and there haven't been a lot of actions to improve that. Or when they take action, they keep it internal to the military. which doesn't work out for you because then you end up protecting people who don't deserve to be protected. I'm really hoping that.
And that's just the crookedness of America. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to discount what she went through personally because I don't know. You know, right there, she was a lance corporal or a corporal there. All right. But I don't know what she went through personally. But I do know this. If she wasn't there, it wouldn't have happened. And she wasn't supposed to be there. All right. That's not a place for women. That's what America does. That's why the Lord is bringing this place down. All right. You know, that your daughter is supposed to be extra protected and watched over. You know, I brought my daughter up in the scriptures. My daughter's been with the same. My daughter's in her late 20s now. Okay, she's been with the same man from high school. All right, they have a house together and a daughter. Okay, and that's the way it's supposed to be. All right, you're not supposed to be on the carousel jumper from man to man to man, and that's what goes on in the military. Because she's away from her husband, away from her family, surrounded by men, sleeping next to men, hanging out with men, drinking with men, and the scripture clearly says, sit not with another man's wife. All right, why? Because you're going to fall into temptation. Like, the cop across the street from me. I know, I don't know her personally, but I know people who, I know a brother in the truth who knows her personally, and I know her story. I also know that police officers are the same way. I dated a police officer many years ago. All right? And that's pretty much what they do. Police women are very, very adulterous and promiscuous. They are. That's just the truth. And anyone out there who has been a police officer, has dealt with police officers, gone to their parties, hung out with them, or been in the military and stationed around places where people deploy and their wives are left on the base and they're going to the base clubs and the things like you know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's just no place for a woman to be in the military. All right, or in a police officer. It's a woman's not supposed to be in a position where she can usurp the authority over the man. That's if you believe in God, if you believe in the Bible, as so many of them say.
All this attention on Vanessa really highlights what's been happening with women in the military, and that it stops here, definitely. I didn't even know about the assault, the act, or anything. That's how blacked out I was until the next morning.
She was blacked out. Why was she blacked out? Because she was drinking and partying and sitting with other men. All right? And she's going to tell you that that's exactly what happened. Which is why it probably went unreported, because watch what she says next.
When another female Marine had commented that she had saw me having sexual intercourse.
So that's right, because they in their eyes, they were all drinking and screwing and banging. So when she started banging, the other Marines were probably cheering her on. All right? She even looks guilty, man. She does. It almost looks like she's got a smirk, like she smiled a little bit. She doesn't look sad or depressed about it at all.
With this male Marine, which then obviously I was mortified to learn had happened. At the time, and currently still, I was married, a married Marine. I had joined the Marine Corps with a husband and child.
So she joined the Marine Corps with a husband and child, yet she got so drunk with a group of other men and another woman to where another woman was watching her have sex with another Marine. Did you hear that? Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. This is Sirach 26 and 22, and it says, "And harlot shall be counted as spittle." Harlot means whore. All right. So let me see again. "And a harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband." So a married woman who actually acts as if she's married. Okay? A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth Yahweh. A dishonest woman content of shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog. What's a female dog? But she that is shamefaced will fear Yahweh. So, she that is shamefaced will fear Yahweh, man. So she played the whore, and the Lord gave her over into her lust. And I can only imagine, I don't know the story, but from the female Marine perspective, she didn't say it as if the girl was like, oh, he took advantage of you. I think she probably would have spoke up if she thought that's what it was. But everybody was drinking and doing what they do. Why? Because I've been there, I've seen it, I've experienced it. And she basically told on herself.
2 friends thought that it was appropriate to go speak to one of our school instructors who happened to be on duty that day. And basically, he came and talked to me. And I will say that I don't hold any ill harbor to this gentleman, because I don't believe that he was evil or me, but I think he just knew what the system was like, and he was preparing me for that. And so he had a very candid conversation with me about how that would negatively affect my life if I were to report such a crime, even on just another peer student who had no authority of any kind whatsoever. And then he explained to me the legal hold processes that could occur for the 2 of us, court martials, things that you don't join the Marine Corps and want to experience your first year. So when the Vanessa Guillen story came out and some of her details were released, it was a heart-stopping moment for me, because then I could see rhetoric of people, discounting that, or the military saying that didn't happen, or we can't corroborate that story. And for her to have told her family, her sister or her mother, I know those words. I've said those words out loud. I've tried, to heal by using my story. And even though I knew not to tell. So now another incident happens a year later in Okinawa, and I know not to tell again.
So another incident, it happened to her again, or something very similar. All right, I've been to Okinawa, and the ratio of women, they call Okinawa the Rock. All right, and the ratio of female Marines to male Marines is ridiculous. It's probably 100 to 1 as far as the men. So it's not a lot of women there. At least it wasn't back then. Maybe things have changed. Maybe they're larger units, but it was very few women far in between. And I'm gonna tell you, man, a lot of those women were playing the whore. There were women who stacked up checks. If they were there for a year or a year and a half or 2 years, they never spent a dime because they had guys spending it for them. So imagine you get a whole year's pay of checks and you just stack your checks up. You never even have to spend them. Why? Because, especially if you was attractive. Because why? They were humping a couple guys. Or however many. And this really went on. This really went on. I wish I could show you pictures. I have a few. All right? This sort of thing really went on. All right? I saw it with my own eyes. And there's probably a couple Marines former Marines that could watch, or servicemen, because there was Air Force and Navy guys there too. They could collaborate. All right, and so could some of the women. They could tell you too. But this is Ezekiel 16 and 44, and it reads, "Behold, everyone that uses proverb shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter." So this was a learned behavior. Why? Because, and see, here in Babylon, she wasn't taught to go and be with one man. Her mother and her father didn't set her up with someone, you know, or that they approved of or whatever. She dated around. And when a woman say, oh, I used to date him, and when I was dating, when you were fucking. When you were on the cock carousel, that's when you say, oh, well, I dated. That means you were on the cock carousel, jumping from penis to penis. And that is a learned behavior that is pushed really, really hard here in Babylon upon all these women as a young age, through movies, through books, through soap operas, this place is just completely and totally wicked and negative. And it corrupts everything, including young women. All right? Their minds are just gone. Why? Because they're experiencing things that they're not supposed to do. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. There's really no need to go any further. So with that, you know, I'm gonna give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Wa Abba Ball. Shalom.